Boom, here we are. As promised, our goal is to speak a little bit slower so we don't go too fast to leave anybody behind. So last week we were talking about contract to close, specifically dealing with the seller's side. All right, good morning to you too as well, Praveen. Specifically talking about the seller's side. Now, who can remember what was the last thing that you needed to do? What was the last thing you were supposed to do on last week's checklist? Before we got moving forward, as we got this into the market or escrow open, what was the last thing you were supposed to do? Somebody tell me if you remember. Our manager's got an answer. What about you, Shay, Rosie? What was the last thing we were supposed to do before we rolled this thing on over into onto the market or open an escrow? She's on the screen. Okay, so maybe that will help somebody. Okay. Anybody. Talk to me, Shay. What was the last thing we're supposed to do?
I don't remember. I'm sorry.
Honesty is great. I love the honesty. They're not. So, Amber, you said you had the answer for us?
Hire a TC.
There it is.
Becca.
Hire a TC. She's right up there in the top right-hand corner for my screen. All right. And so that was the last thing we wanted to do.
Rebecca should answer that question.
What'd you say, Rosie?
Rebecca should have answered that question.
Rebecca should have answered that question. Rosie, that's your question. Tell me, Rosie, why?
I was not in the call last week. Sorry.
But you watched the. Oh, okay. All right. No worries.
No.
Okay. So that being said, Rosie, why would you hire a TC to help in your transaction?
I mean, in case we miss something, make sure we have everything in order. And just because she's the best.
Spot on. Anyone else? Perveen, why would you hire a TC? Maybe she's texted in the chat. Shay, you can share.
Just to look over the paperwork.
Second set of eyes.
Is there a lot to keep track of in the transaction? Right. So is it great, like Felipe said, a second pair of eyes for someone to review that there? Praveen says, so everything runs smoothly, she says there in the chat. So when we're talking about contract to close, with everything that goes on with this transaction, it is imperative, I would say, that you have a TC, or at the very least, if you're that good, a second agent, maybe just to review things for you, because there's a lot that can be missed, a box that can't be checked that has cost agents literally refrigerators. I've heard agent had to buy a refrigerator. All right. I had to buy a home warranty, hundreds of dollars, right? Very quickly, your commission check can go bye-bye if you start making too many mistakes. All right. I heard one time another agent actually missed where there were closing costs that were supposed to be paid by the seller. Somehow they missed that portion in the contract. And so they went to close and it was like, well, where's the seller's concessions for closing costs? And it was like, oops, I forgot to tell my seller that. So then guess who paid for those closing costs, right?
The agent.
The agent did. So the whole commission was gone, like the whole commission gone. All right. So if you want to lose your whole commission, right, I wouldn't recommend it. Make sure you hire a TC. All right. Have a second set of eyes. Take a look at your contract to make sure that everything is the way it's supposed to be. That being said, welcome Maria Speed. Welcome, Linda. So good to have you all here in the building. Maria and I, we like the same background. We work in the same office. I just work on one side. She works on the other side. That's why it looks like it does. Spot on. I love this. So here we go. We're talking about contract to close, and here we go. So what you got here is last week's. Now, this is the second half of what we were looking at last week. Hang on a second. What you were looking at last week, all right? And we just finished up right here with hire a TC. We're going to just change this color real quick to make sure that you can know which one we were talking about. We want to hire, oh, come on, dude. Hire a TC, all right? That's what we finished off from last week and the importance thereof of hiring a TC. So all that being said, just to review real quick for those who maybe weren't here, we looked at the pre-listing checklist, everything that goes into getting started with a listing. We looked at the listing appointment checklist and everything that you should be doing while you're at an appointment. All right, so all of that's here as well. Don't worry. Everything that we have right here is coming to you in an email. All right, we're making some slight adjustments to it as we're here together collaborating. And so we're going to email this over to you so you'll have this document in your file. So every single transaction that you run through, you'll be able to make the notations right there. You won't miss anything. And of course, you can make any adjustments to it yourself if it's something specific. All right. Then we had the inputting the listing checklist. We went over all of those details as well. And now, of course, we're to the fun part where we're actually in escrow. All right, or on the market. All right. So first thing that I recommend is when everything goes live, you want your sellers to be excited. All right. So a good phone call to say, hey, just want to let you know everything is live. Feel free to check that Century 21 website that's now active for you to be able to see what your home looks like on the custom made website that we have made for you. All right. Let them know. Share this with your friends, post it on Instagram, Facebook, all that. They have that option with the website that's created for them via Century 21. All right? Cool phone call. Let them know that you're ready to rock and roll. Now, this portion right here is a critical piece. All right, and we've talked about this in other portions as well, but I'm just going to highlight it now. All right? Call seller weekly with updates. Okay? During this transaction, a lot of things are going to take place. What is one of the faults, one of the major faults that sellers complain about as us as agents? What's the number one? Lack of, somebody help me.
Communication.
Lack of communication. They don't know what's going on in during the contract, right? So a week's gone by, 2 weeks gone by, what's going on? Where are the buyers at? Is there anything that I need to do? A weekly call. So I say pick one day of the week to be consistent, because that way it's done every single week at the same time. Now, it could be a Friday, end of the week, but things happen over the weekend, right? It could be a Monday. I typically like Tuesday. Tuesday, I'm able to get everything caught up for what was taking place over the weekend, handle anything that maybe needs to be tied off that happened over the weekend or on Friday, get that buttoned up on Monday. And then, of course, Tuesday, make a phone call. Hey, just want to let you guys know where we're at with the contract, all right, with the transaction, I should say. Okay? That's my recommendation for you when you're in a contract with someone. But let me move over here real quick, because we're talking about offers. And when an offer comes in this market, what's the average? And someone can help me out. Maybe I don't know, but maybe you can help me out because you've been getting some listings. What's the average number of offers that you've been getting in for your listing? 5 is what I'm seeing. Anyone else? Average number of offers, 10. Okay, anyone else? Average number of offers that are coming in? Maria Spee is muted, but that's okay. She's working on that. She's coming to me real soon here in a moment.
I haven't had a listing in a while, but I'm representing the buyer and I'm competing with anywhere from 15 to more.
15 to more. Tons and tons of offers are being submitted. We took a listing last week, dropped it on the market. 8 offers came in, boom, just like that, right? We're, I don't know, 20,000 over asking. It's crazy. That's the market we're in, right? So as you'll see right here where it says offers, review RPAs with the seller, there's a couple of ways that you can do this. You can either review an offer or what an offer looks like during your listing presentation, or you can wait until you have offers in hand. Either way, I like to do it in the beginning of we're at the listing appointment, because at that point I can go over what an offer looks like. So when the offers come in, I can just highlight the points that we need to emphasize on for the offers, okay? But you need to take those offers to your client and sit down with them and go over them. Why do you need to go over the offers with your clients in person? Somebody talk to me.
So they could decide what one they want to go with.
Okay. Shay, which one they want to go with? Maria, were you going to share something with us, or
yeah,
Marianne? Why would you want to go over these offers with the clients?
I was just going to say that, to show them that I mean, that's part of how we bring our value is by, putting them in order and highlighting the top points of each offer and what it means to them, so that, if they have any questions, you can answer them on the spot.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. There is a form. Marianne, you had something.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I do a spreadsheet. The paperwork seems to be overwhelming to the sellers. I do a quick spreadsheet on top of each offer, highlighting not only the price, but the very important terms to my seller.
Mm-hmm. And bring out for us just a little bit, some of those important terms we want to share.
Sure, such as if they needed a seller rent back, if that was maybe charged or free. The cleaner offers, I note if they asked for termite repairs or a home warranty, escrow period, amount of down payment, amount of earnest money deposit.
Absolutely. Key points right there that we need to, because there's a lot in the offer. Most of that right there, information, we can go over it at any point. But the details of the offer, which Marianne has brought out, EMD, termite, all of those things, time of escrow, all of that needs to be explained to them, and we can sit it side by side. The spreadsheet's a great idea. If you don't have your own spreadsheet, go to CARD. There is a document that you can use, but I believe there's only like 5 offers that you can put on there. When you're getting 10 or 15, it doesn't really work anymore. All right. So you might want to create that spreadsheet as well. Okay. Review the offers with your clients so they know what they're looking at, because it's confusing for which one is which and who's asking for what. VA, FHA, conventional, I don't know, explaining all the differences as well. Okay. Then they get the option. What 3 things can you do with an offer? It's the next step down. Somebody just read the screen. This is an easy one, Jessica. Someone just read the screen. What is the next thing you do after you review the offers? 3 things you can do to that offer.
Accept it, give them a counter, or reject it.
There it is. Accept, counter, or reject. All right. Know this. We've talked about this in other trainings. If you are countering an offer, how many different types of counter offer forms are there? Somebody help me out. Experienced agent over here.
Is there 3?
3, almost. I'm familiar with 2.
There's a multiple and a seller counter.
There it is. So I can counter one offer, or if I have one offer, but if I have multiples, then I'm going to send out a multiple counter offer. What's the difference between the 2? Someone can explain to me the difference between a multiple counter offer and just a seller's counter offer. One big difference I'm looking for.
Pretty self-explanatory. One is sent to multiple people and one is sent to a singular one person.
Mm-hmm. Very true. And one other point that I want to bring out to you is when you send the seller's counter offer, right? The seller sends that over. If they send and they sign it, they're ready to rock and roll. With the multiple counter offer, with the seller at that point can, when those offers come back, can choose which one they want to go with. They still have some leverage there, which you don't have on the other side. If the buyer signs it, you're open in escrow. We have an executed contract. The buyer signs the multiple counter offer. It comes back to the seller, and the seller at that point determines which one they're going to move forward with. Okay? Note those little pieces right there as you're looking at the difference between counters, rather a multiple counter and just a seller's counter offer. Agent has made a mistake in the past. We've shared it where there was 6 offers and they sent them all a seller counter. Problem. It's not like I got multiple offers multiple contracts that I'm bound to. Sticky stuff. All right.
I just want to add something when you guys are doing your counters. If you're sending out multiples and you're sending out 5 seller multiples, they do not go out as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They are all 1. They are to that one buyer, number 1, the second buyer, number 1, the third buyer, number 1, and so on. I have seen them come back 1, 2, 3, and then the buyer counters are all messed up and it can trickle down. So keep that in mind.
Great point. Hope you're taking notes right there as well. It's number 1, then number 2, and it moves on from there. Okay. Everybody gets number 1 to start. Opening escrow. We've got a transaction checklist. Now, if you don't have this, we will make sure that you get it in your hands as well. It's actually fillable, correct, Rebecca? I mean, you literally just can type right into it, everyone here. So this is the grant. If you're using America's Escrow, which we recommend you do if you're representing a seller, you're going to be able to type everything in there that you need, shoot that over to your TC. They can open escrow for you. Okay? That's going to be the next step that you need to do to open escrow. You also have to update your dash form. You filled out the dash form in the beginning, but now that listing is in escrow. So you'll check the box. It says listing in escrow, fill in the information that's required. You'll send that on up to Amber or our assistant Melissa. They'll get that updated into the database so that you can open your SkySlope and move forward with the next portion of that. All right.
And I just want to also point out the dash form is an office form, and the escrow form is escrow's documents. That's what they need. It's not like you're doing two forms for the office. One goes to escrow. They need that information because they do not have access to MLS. So they don't know if there's HOA. They don't know certain things that are not on the actual contract, where you want your paperwork to go to. Maybe your sellers are getting a divorce and they're going to go to 2 different addresses. That form allows you guys to put in information that would be helpful to escrow and help things run a little bit smoother at the beginning. The dash form is for the office. That helps with MLS mailings, the Move Easy. So it's important that we get both of those forms for the 2 different parts of the transaction.
All right, everybody saw it right there? Nobody missed it right there? We'll highlight it for you one more time. Again, there it is. Transaction checklist and a dash. Melissa, do you have something you want to share?
Yeah, I just wanted to remind you guys, the listing dash part is just as important as listing and escrow. So what I've noticed sometimes is you guys will get me your dash form of listing and escrow when I don't even have the listing side. And I just want to remind you guys that there's 2 parts of the dash form when it comes to a listing. There's a listing and then there's the listing and escrow. So before I can even convert it into it now being an escrow on my side, I still need those listing documentation. So please make sure you fill that out. If you have any questions, you can always call me at the Lake Elsinore office. I'm here Monday through Friday until 4:30. And then with the MLS mailings, if you have any questions about that, let me know. I've been getting a lot of questions about that. Feel free to call me or email me. And then with your dash forms, just email them directly to me. If you don't have my email, I'll put it in the chat just for those of you who are new. Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much, Melissa, for all the help that you give us as well on the admin side, making sure we get all these things done correctly. All right. The next portion is going to be our disclosures. How much time do we have to get our disclosures? Just by default on the contract, there it is, 7 days. Marianne has it 7 days. We've got to turn these over to the buyers. All right, all of those things that are listed right here, we've got a very long list and it continues to grow. Most importantly, the one that you need your sellers to fill out and get back to you ASAP is highlighted in yellow. What would that be? Someone just yell it out for me there, paying attention. Linda, Rosie, Chris, Jessica. No one can read the screen today for me. Help me out, class. SPQ and TDS. I can't believe I've been through like 5 agents and they literally all were like, I'm not going to. Okay, that's cool. No worries. We got you guys. SPQ, TDS. This is a critical piece right here that it has to be filled out. If there is a yes box marked, what must accompany that yes box being marked?
An explanation.
An explanation. It is our job as agents to review it to make sure all the boxes are checked. And if there's a yes, that there's an explanation. It is not our job. And we are not supposed to tell our clients how to fill that out. All right. What's in it? Because we don't know. All right. You can, at the end of the day, they go to court, they say, well, my agent told me to put that on there. Right. It's really sticky. All right. Don't get in the sticky mess. Your client fills out the SPQ and the TDS, but it's our job to tell them how to do it. Again, it's just check these boxes, yes or no. And if it's a yes, put an explanation. That's it. Walk away. Okay. Everybody follow me there? Rebecca's going to shoot it back to you. And she's going to say, why is the boxes not checked?
Yes, I will. And if you say, oh, that doesn't apply. Well, how do I know they just didn't forget to mark a yes or no? If it doesn't apply, then you need to write something on there that says doesn't apply or unaware or no knowledge. There has to be something on there.
And one of the ones that can always get you like an HOA. Like that one's on there, and it's just like it's not in an HOA, so they just skip it. Well, we don't know. Just put in not applicable, and then it'll explain NA. Boom, rock and roll. Now we know that they saw it, and we can move on. All right. I'm not going to go through all of these right here. I'm going to pick up some other things as well, but here's the list of everything that we've been using. All right. Now, Rebecca, you're looking at the list that's on the screen. Is there anything that we need to add to this from the last time we conducted this class from our sellers disclosures? Anything that we missed?
Seller disclosures. So I do want to say that I know a lot of you agents, and I'm almost positive I mentioned this the last time, is you guys really have to get that Avid done. When you guys sign the TDS, there's a box on the signature page that says Avid attached or something like that. I have agents on the buyer side that will ask me over and over, hey, the box is marked, where's the Avid? And I go to my listing agent, and listing agent says, oh, I'll get to that. I do not reply back to the buyer agent saying, well, my listing agent's being lazy and they don't feel like doing it today. I can't do that. So it's really important that you guys get that done at the beginning versus waiting till the last minute to do that, because they are waiting for that. That is part of the 7 days.
Just about to ask that question, but she already answered it for us again. What's the time frame that we have to get this done?
7 days.
7 days, agents, 7 days. Just the same as that TDS and the SPQ. When they go out, they all should go out together. All right. If you've ever worked with some of these teams that are out there, they do a great job, and you can do the same where you open escrow, and then like the next day you get everything in your email. Boom. TDS, SPQ, Avid, everything ready to rock and roll. Your clients can review everything, move forward, so there's no delay. Be the same professional agent yourself. Get everything done right up front so you can turn it right on over. Okay?
The only other thing would be if you guys are doing your listing NHDs, you are going to know now if your listing is in the high fire. So that is an added disclosure. So you're going to need to have that information, because I'm not going to know until I see that NHD report. And so there's 2 disclosures that are added if it applies, and that's the home hardening and the wildfire. Yep. So those are 2 that are part of the disclosures that we should be sending out as well.
And because there's so often that's going to be in there, I'm going to go ahead and make where it says if applicable, I'm going to add that in here as well. I type really slow, so we're not going to hold the class for my slow typing. I will add that in there, all right, so that you will have that when you get over the document, the 2 fire ones as well, because I want to make sure you don't forget those. All right. Okay, they're right there on the screen. Jessica, how much time does a buyer have to get their EMD
in? 3 business days.
3 business days. If Jessica, I'm not done with you. Don't turn off your mic yet. If I open escrow on Friday, until what day of the following week do I have to get my EMD in?
Tuesday, if you open on Friday.
You open on Friday. Why do you answer Tuesday?
Business days.
Business days. Okay. What day is the day that the contract is signed is day 0. Okay. So Friday would be day what? 0, right? So the Saturday or Sunday does not count, correct? Mm-hmm. So then what day would I need to have this in by 5 p.m. of the following week?
Wednesday.
There it is, right on. Making sure we're all on the same page here. You have until Wednesday, the next day. You need to know that when you're explaining this, because your sellers, well, when are they going to put their money in? Well, it's Friday, all right? So they don't have to have it in until 5 p.m. on Wednesday, all right? And if these people are serious, they'll have it in on Monday, all right? But that's just that you know so you can explain it. This is the only portion of the contract that refers to business days. Only portion of the contract. Everything else is as you move forward down the checkbox here of the inspection period are calendar days, okay? Remember, your contract sign date is day 0, so never count today. You got a contract signed today, that's day 0, not day 1. Everybody follow me there? We move on. So tomorrow, Friday, would be day 1, and we progress from there when we're counting down on our calendar when these things are due. It's imperative for you as an agent to know if this has been changed. See this 17 days right here? These are being chopped up pretty good. All right, they're being chopped up pretty good down to 14, 10, 7 themselves. All right, they're chopping these down. You need to mark your calendar so that you can know, okay, let's ask this question. Why do you need to know when these dates are on your calendar? Why do you need to know the date for the inspection period for the buyers or the sellers?
So you don't miss your deadlines.
You don't miss your deadline for what? What's an important deadline in the contract that we don't want to miss?
Closing.
What's that?
Closing and funding.
Closing is one. Something else that comes before we close starts with a C.
Contingency.
Contingencies.
Contingency. We want to know when these contingency periods end, because guess what? If I get to day 10, right, and they haven't done their inspections, they haven't done anything, what do I get to send them? Or actually before then, actually, depending on the
notice to perform.
Notice to perform. Thank you so much, Maria. Because at that, how many ways can a buyer or can a seller cancel a contract? Which 2 things can they do to cancel a contract? Because they only got 2.
That loan
If the
inspection
buyer
and
does
appraisal.
not perform, sorry.
Contingencies I heard, and then breach the contract, basically. If they don't perform contractually. Not performing contractually would be not getting your EMD in on time. Okay, not getting your contingency removed on time is also a breach of contract, therefore giving power to your seller to be able to cancel that contract and move on if the buyers do what they're supposed to. But if you don't know those dates, you can't send out those contingency removals, and guess what? You're doing a disservice to your client, the sellers. Everybody follow me there? So you want to know those dates, mark them on a calendar. If you got one of my planners over here on the other side, if you have a planner, I mark them in there. I highlight those days. Okay, day 17, this is what's happening. Boom. So I can, as we're getting close to those days. Bonus question: how soon can you send, or how early can you send a notice to perform? How many days prior to the actual date? Bonus question. Oh, Marianne's got it first. 2 days prior to. Everybody follow me there? So if you've got 17 days, you can send it on day 15, and then on day 17 they don't perform, you can actually send a cancellation. Okay, everybody follow me there? Didn't miss nobody. All right, here we're going to go down the buyer's inspections. They've got to review the seller's disclosures. They got to conduct all their inspections. They're going to fill out their buyer's avid, another avid to be done. Request for repairs, if any. We've got that appraisal in there as well, and then also they should be ordering their home warranty. All these things should be done in that 17-day period by the buyers. Okay, anything I'm missing in there? Any other agents that you're saying, maybe some of my more experienced agents, for that buyer inspection period, is there anything we need to add to this?
I think there is. Failing to provide the disclosures in the first 7 days inadvertently extends their contingency period. So you may give your buyer a reason to not remove those contingencies if you haven't gotten your disclosures in on time. Their days to review those are extended in turn, and agents will take that and use the leeway. So make sure you're performing in your contractual obligations so that we can hold them to the same standards.
And I believe it's 5 days.
It's 7.
No, they get added 5 days.
Oh, yes. Yes, off the original 7. Yes.
Yes.
So you're shooting yourself in the foot by not staying within the contractual timelines.
Because think about this. If you add 5 days to 17, what are you at now? You're almost closed escrow at this point, but that's a month. Say, for instance, they're going to cancel, right? That's a month that your seller has lost and has to start all over again. That's another mortgage payment that they're going to have to make, most likely. You're losing money for your clients, okay? So keep those things in mind when you're getting all these boxes checked. So I've made that note here to add that as well, okay? This little checklist is great. If you're not using a calendar, we've actually done this for you, okay? Day 17, look right here. We gave you a little blank spot right there, okay? What you can do is you can write in that blank spot what that date is. And the cool thing about it, as you can see, as we move all the way up to the top, we've got the address here. So again, this should be for every last one of your transactions. You put this at the front of the file. You're going down, you're checking the boxes as you move along, and you've got your date right here, all right? For your contingencies, number one, that's going to be for the appraisal, and that's going to be for the inspections. Everybody follow me there? Didn't miss nothing, right? I think somebody said something in the chat box over here, so let me just throw this open. I don't want to miss that.
Yes, he's going to be sending that out afterwards.
And that's why we've got it here on the live. So I'm not going to do all the typing in here. for the additions that you guys have made. But we made this, when did it originally made back in April 17, 2020. So this thing's almost a year old. So that's why we're actually going over this again, because real estate changes, transactions change. We make sure that you have an up-to-date checklist that should be done on every transaction. All right. Again, we talked about last week. I literally forgot to pick up keys to put in a lockbox because I didn't have a check. I didn't use the checklist that we had already provided to ourselves. All right. Final loan approval comes along. Then we've got day 21. Typically is going to be contingency removal number 2. This one right here, I tend to see a lot of delays from the lenders. It's going to be your responsibility as an agent to be on the phone with that lender and see where they are. Because what you don't want to happen is get to day 21 and you say, okay, you guys ready to move your contingency, and they don't have clear to close. They're going to tell you no, right? They're going to tell their buyers, don't remove your contingency, right? And that's going to tell your sellers that we're kind of stuck here. And you didn't follow the dates. You didn't follow up. So then you can't even cancel the contract and push them push them to get things done because we're not doing our part. So having these dates is a critical thing for you to do so that you can make sure everything's done on time. It's not your lender. You don't represent the buyer. Okay. But I highly recommend, and maybe some of my senior agents can tell me the same thing. I highly recommend maintaining a once-a-week phone call as well with that lender to see that they're on track. Will we agree with that? My other agents here, my experienced agents here. Yes. Lenders fall behind all the time. If we're not there to kind of push people to get things done, they'll let the time lapse. All right. So do that right there.
I want to add something regarding the contingencies. When you guys are using myself as a TC, I just make note of the contingency dates. I do not automatically send out contingency removal. I don't know the conversations that you have had with the other side. Maybe they talked to you and said, hey, I need a day or two, or maybe you're not going to ask for a contingency removal. So I do not automatically send that out. I also do not like marking the boxes. It can be confusing. So if you say, I want all contingencies removed, well, that's easy enough. There's a box that says that. There are lots of boxes on there. So if you are communicating back and forth with the other agent and you know that they're not going to give you the normal CR1 because they're only going to remove a specific contingency, it's important that you guys as the agents, when you're communicating that, you got to let their TC know, myself know, so that we're all on the same page. But I will not send them out automatically as a listing or as a buyer side. I will definitely not send it out for signature if they say, hey, get this signed. Nope. You guys are who I work for. If you do not tell me to send out a contingency removal, I will not get it signed or sent out. I take my direction from you guys. So just keep that in mind, that it will not go out automatically. I take direction from you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. She takes, again, directions from us as agents. So it's our job as the agents to make sure that our TC knows what's going on in this transaction. I love what Marianne put in the chat box. If you guys didn't see that right there, she said she even stays on top of the lender to make sure that the appraisal is ordered ASAP. Appraisals can delay your transaction. Sometimes even with these VAs, I've heard in the past, VAs can be a little bit slower sometimes. What you want to do is, was that appraisal order? I had one. Appraiser came out because of COVID. Now check this out. Because of COVID, appraiser came out, gets to the house, knocks on the door. Kid is there, got a mask on, and I guess somebody coughed in the back. And he was like, has anybody got COVID here? And they're like, yeah, somebody just tested positive. So of course, what did he do? He left, right? So he left. But he called me and told me that he left. He never called the lender, right? So if I had called the lender the next day and was like, just to make sure you guys know that you're rescheduling this, and they're like, we don't know anything about a reschedule. He didn't do the appraisal yesterday? No, he didn't do the appraisal yesterday because he said that he thought someone had COVID, so he had to reschedule. But that came to us as the agent of, again, having that communication, because a week could have went by and the lender's been calling, when's the appraisal coming in? Like, didn't you meet him? You were supposed to let him in. Communication. All right, so make sure that you're getting that portion done as well. rolling right along here. We've got a couple minutes left before we finish. Verification of property, 5 days prior to close of escrow. All right, that's right there on the contract. You want to make sure that they go out and they get that done. You represent the seller. You want to let them know that they're going to come out. The home has to be in the same condition that they saw it. So if there's a window that wasn't broken and now a window is broken, all right, does that cancel the contract? Window broken that was not broken prior to, does that cancel the contract? Do they have to fix that window in order to close? Question for my agents. Maria Speed.
Sorry, repeat. I had a text come in.
No worries at all. We're at the verification of property right now. I come over to the home. There was a window that was not broken when we first saw the home that is broken now. Will that cancel my contract, or is that a contingency for us to close, that window being broken now?
Contingency to close.
Is it a contingency? Why would it be a contingency? I'm going to prod you a little bit. It's a little bit of a trick question. Why would that be a contingency to close on a verification of property?
Because when we had put the offer in, it was all working just fine. There was no broken window. If something got broken in the midst, then they are obligated to go ahead and take care of it before we close.
Okay.
I wouldn't cancel for a broken window. I would just have them fix it, or give me the funds to fix it.
Now I'm gonna have Rebecca weigh in on this because I know she's got something to share on this. Rebecca, I want you to weigh in on this question. There's a broken window, all right, that was not broken prior to I'm at the verification of property stage of this transaction. Is that a contingency for me to close?
I feel like this is a tricky question because I will get answers from very well seasoned agents that will say, no, you cannot stop my close from happening, right? But at the same time, I do have agents say, well, and I think it's more of like listing side versus buyer side. A buyer agent will be like, no, I don't want to close until that window's fixed. So I do get mixed answers with that. I have some agents that says, no, absolutely not. We can still close. Seller cannot stop the closing. Buyer cannot stop the closing. But if buyer doesn't put in their money to close, they're like forced stopping it, right? But the house has to be in the same condition of when they put their offer in.
It's very tricky. And again, we're having this conversation because if they've removed their contingencies, right?
Yep.
What contingency do I have placed? That's why I asked the question. Is this contingent on them closing? All right.
No.
Sorry, it's a little tricky question. All right. But this is what happens in a transaction. You want to be able to explain to your clients again, the home is supposed to be in the condition that they first saw it in. What you want to do in that situation, of course, yes, fix the window. All right, buyer can choose to stop, but seller can say, no, you can't. So it can get very tricky. I bring this up. I hope no one gets a broken window now that we brought this up.
I do want to say, though, that situations where it's trying to hold up a closing is because agents did not have a buyer side conduct their final walkthrough when they were supposed to. They try to do a final walkthrough the day of close, or I've seen it after close. What's the point of doing a final walkthrough if you're not doing it prior to close? If there's something you want to address, you should be doing it prior to close. That allows them to figure out a solution to whether an agent wants to fix it, the seller steps up and does what they need to do. That allows time for that all to happen. But when you guys are waiting till last minute to do this final walkthrough, it doesn't allow them to do what they need to do or address the issues, if any.
You've got almost an entire week, 5 days there, okay, to be able to get everything done. So 5 days prior to close of escrow, that's why it's there. It's in the contract. Put it on your calendar, get it done. So if there's any small little things, you've got time to get those loose ends tied up. All right. Thank you so much for weighing in on that question. It can be sticky as to whether or not it's a contingency. But of course, at the end of the day, you do want to deliver the property in the condition that they originally saw the property. Okay. Last things you're wrapping up, you know, this is when you're getting right down to the end, is the buyer's going to sign their loan docs. You want to know when that's going to happen. Okay. Then the lender's going to fund, and then it's going to record. Now, everybody gets excited when they get loan doc signed. It's like, whoa, you're ready to rock and roll. I typically tell, ask me this question. I'll throw the question out there. From signing loan docs to recording, how many days does that normally take? Talk to me, Mary Ann. She's got the answer to this one. From signing loan docs to recording, typically, how much time does that take? Is that all in the same day?
I like to prep my buyers for 2 days, maybe 3, some table fund where they can get the docs scanned back and fund the same day. And some have a full review process, and you're at the bottom of the pile of their review process in order to fund. And sometimes there's conditions that will need to be met as well.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I love that you brought up the fact that there can be conditions. You can literally sign docs and have conditions that need to be met that can delay you another 2 or 3 days if those conditions are not met. Okay, they need some paperwork to be drawn. It could be a variety of different things it could be that the lender needs. So what I like to do is when I'm looking at this whole little thing on a calendar map here, if my escrow says that we're going to close, rather we're going to sign docs on a Friday. Okay, we're going to sign loan docs on a Friday. Your clients think that they're moving this weekend, right? What is the likelihood of them moving this weekend? Like 0.1%, right? It's almost not going to happen because this is how long is, like it says, Mary Ann said, it takes. They've got to sign the docs, then they've got to get scanned over, they got to fund, right? After they fund, because the lender has to put in their money, the buyer has to put in their money as well. Then it goes to the county for recording. That typically does not get done in a day. It can be done in a day. I've seen it one time done in a day, once, all right? On a Friday, the last thing you're trying to do is get it done all in one day because everybody wants to go home, right? So set everybody up, prepare everybody in the beginning. If we're signing these on Friday, we're most likely going to be wrapping up and closing on Monday or Tuesday of next week. Okay? Let them know. It's not there. And then what you don't want to do is you don't want to hand over any keys. No keys whatsoever. I don't have this on here. I'm going to write this on here. No keys. For no reason whatsoever. Don't give anyone any keys until it's recorded, because until it's recorded, who does the home still belong to, agents?
Seller.
Still belongs to the seller. That's right. The horror stories are there. We don't need to go over them again. All right? No keys until it's recorded. Then it's that buyer's home. When you're all done here, you're going to wrap it up. You put a sign out front, so don't forget to remove your sign. All right? This right here, I've seen where it can be a little bit of a problem here. It's not our job, I would say, as agents, but sellers sometimes are in a rush to leave and they cleaned the house. You know what I'm saying? But the garage is full of junk that they didn't want, right? We as agents, this is where we step in and you can shine real bright and you can get that stuff all cleared up for them, okay? Make sure that when the sellers go and when the buyers go in, the home is ready for them to move in, all right? Talk to your sellers if you're going to have, we've got COVID that's still out there. If you're going to have professional cleaners come in, get everything nice and shiny and bright for them so that they feel comfortable moving in. Nobody wants to move into a home that is dirty and I've got to clean after someone else, because everyone has a different opinion of what clean is. Will we agree? All right, yes. For sure. When that's all done, you get paid, okay? When all your paperwork is complete, and that's something else we got to add on here as a checkbox, is Sky Slope. I'm glad we're doing this. Sky Slope paperwork is all in. One thing that you need to be putting in Sky Slope as an agent is going to be all of your emails. Okay? Your emails. Maybe you're a newer agent, you didn't realize this. All your communication back and forth needs to be recorded in Sky Slope. That's all your emails. So you're not going to be able to put in all your emails until you're done. But want to make sure that that's in Sky Slope. Okay? Now, we don't have it anymore. Correct me if I'm wrong, Rebecca, but we don't use a, what's it called? Come on, brain.
Hey.
Communication log.
There it is. Come on. We are not requiring agents to do a communication log anymore. Is that correct?
Yes, it's recommended. We do recommend it, but we will not hold up your file if you don't turn one in. Regarding the emails, that's pretty much a communication log. If you're using a TC like myself, if you CC me on stuff, I, at the end of the transaction, upload all the emails that I received throughout the transaction. I do have agents that receive emails that I may not have been part of, and they forward me the emails and they just simply put for the file. And I know that that's going to go in at the end of the transaction and it gets uploaded into SkySlope. So if you do not have Outlook and you're using Yahoo, Google, AOL, MSN, it is a little bit more difficult to get those emails into SkySlope. You can forward the emails directly or CC the SkySlope file. If you plan on doing that, let us know and we can help you, so we can show you how to get those over to SkySlope. And then I wanted to add that the time frame. I know you guys are super excited to get paid and recording, and you want to hurry up and get that final closing statement. Keep in mind that recording can happen at 5 o'clock. I've seen emails come over at 7 o'clock. So don't think that you're going to get a recording before 5 p.m. on some of these transactions. Just be patient. Recording will happen. Once recording happens, you have to allow escrow to balance out the file and get their paperwork all together, do their breakdown for checks. Escrow then sends the checks over to Carrie Ann. And then once Carrie Ann receives it in, you have to allow her at least 24 hours to do the process of her paperwork and disperse checks. So just be patient. I know you guys get excited when a closing happens. So just keep those time frames in mind. Don't get too eager because they are trying their best to get things closed out for you guys.
In short, Rebecca just said you're not getting paid the day it closed. Okay, it's gonna take another day,
yes,
maybe. All right, for the paperwork and be processed, for the file to be executed on the end of escrow and as well as at your brokerage. Okay, so just know that it's going to take another.
Yes, day. And there is a review link. We will make sure that that's given to you all if you don't have it. But Melissa has to review the file. She needs to make sure that it's complete and in compliance for the office for the broker. So that is also part of this whole closing out of the system. She cannot read your mind. She doesn't know that the file closed. You have to click the link and that gives her the information that she needs to start the review process for your file.
Awesome, thank you.
I just want to say really quick, thank you, Rebecca. Also, I review files in the order that I receive them. So if there's 10 reviews ahead of you, but your file's closing today and you need it reviewed today, just a reminder, there's going to be 10 people ahead of you. So the sooner you do it, the better once it's done. That way, if there is anything missing, I can come to you and say, hey, we're missing this, we need this signed, and you're not having to go back to your client after the close of escrow to be like, hey, we missed some signatures. Like, you don't want to have to do that. So please fill out the link in a timely manner so we can all be on the same page. And that way you don't have to go back after the close and redo something you could have done sooner.
I couldn't have said that better. Thank you so much, Melissa. You don't want to go back to your clients when you're all supposedly done to get a signature. So let's get those reviews in. couple days before you close, you should have everything already at that point, and then you can make sure nothing's missing. All right. When it's all said and done, after you close, what most agents do is they just get a check, they get paid, and they disappear. And that's a wrap. Okay. But as we're going to blow up on the screen here a little bit, there's actually some work to be done after closing. Okay. I like to do a closing gift. There's varieties of ones out there. We're not going to tell you what you can or what you should do for a closing gift. Ask for the seller to complete a review for a 5-star service. You want to get as many reviews as you want. I literally have an appointment tomorrow because one of my neighbors went online from seeing me in the past and looked at my reviews and was like, everyone's raving about you. I'm sure they're saying the same thing about Marianne. I'm sure they're saying the same thing about Maria Speed because they get their reviews in, so people see what the work that they do. So get the reviews in, you agents who maybe haven't worked as long, so that you can build some rapport. Okay, you can build some credibility in the community as a real estate professional. Sign up your client for the Preferred Client Club. It costs you like $50 or something like that. I think it is for like 7 years or something insane. It comes right out of your check. You never even see it. Don't even have to worry about it. And they get the magazine, they get the card, they get the whole bang. We've been over all of this at our listing workshop. Sign them up for it. I recommend it. And then last but not least, of course, you want to follow up and the week after at least stop by, say hello, see how they're doing, make sure everything is all right. Okay. Continue to nurture that relationship that you've worked so hard to build so that when they do go and buy another home, sell another home, you're the agent that they're working with, because you've continued to maintain the relationship, right? Real estate is a what kind of business? Relationship. Thank you so much, Marianne. Relationship business. So we got to make sure that we take care of our clients, continue to foster and rather to nurture those relationships, and it'll come back to you. It just absolutely will. All right. Any other thoughts before we get wrapped up today, my agents?
Yeah, there's one thing that I learned through trial and error, making my own mistakes, that I forgot, and it was tragic for me. Remind everybody day 10 before closing, day 5 before closing, to transfer their utilities. If your buyer moves in to no lights and no water and no gas, it falls on you somehow. And also your seller, you remind them to not disconnect until maybe a day after escrow, and that also could change. You always have to prep them that anything could change at any time, but suggest a good day to both activate and deactivate utilities.
Great point. Thank you so much. We're definitely going to add that to our checklist. Utilities, critical piece right there. And again, these are the things that we forget. But then someone moves in and there's no power in the house. Like, oh my goodness, and it's going to take a day for them to get out. It's just uncomfortable for everybody. All right. Or we've got a crisscross of who's the owner here and who's responsible. So all of that as well. So thank you so much, Marianne, for sharing with that. It is 11:58. Is there any other comments or questions about this checklist that we've gone over today? If not, well, is there any questions, comments, anything that we've missed this morning? Still morning. 2 minutes. Fantastic. Again, thank you so much, Maria Speed, Marianne, Jessica, Amber, Melissa, Shay, and Rosie even shared a little bit, and then all the rest of my names that are on the screen there, for your input, for your feedback, as we continue to become better agents to better serve our clients here in this industry. All right. Felipe said it, practice your trade or trade your practice. Thank you for being here and joining us on the training. I wish you guys the best for the rest of this week. We'll see you on the next one.
Bye.